Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the best-selling author, award-winning international speaker, industry-leading salesperson, and a remarkable survivor, Christine Clifford Beckwith.
I want you all to go back in time to the year 1971 and try to imagine the dwelling in which you were living at the time that had a television set. A commercial came on the air. This commercial, the single most significant sales and marketing event of your lifetime, because it is from this commercial that can teach you or remind you 3/4 of what you need to know to market and sell donor services. I'm going to play the role of the narrator of this commercial, and one of you is going to play the other role, but don't worry, when the time comes, you'll know exactly what to say. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are at the fabulous New York dining spot, Lutece, where the diners have just finished their meal, and they're now having a cup of coffee. But what the diners don't realize is that the coffee they are drinking is Folgers crystals. I see one of the diners finishing their meal right now. Let me go over and ask him about his experience. Hi, and your name is?
Julio.
Julio, and Julio, where are you from?
New Jersey.
Julio is from New Jersey, and Julio, welcome to Lutece.
Thank you.
And Julio, I see that you have just finished your coffee.
Yes.
And how was it, Julio?
Good.
Julio, the answer is fabulous.
Oh, fabulous. Yes, fabulous.
Fabulous. Now, why would Julio from New Jersey believe that freeze-dried coffee tastes fabulous? And by the way, for those of you who don't know this already, it doesn't. But why would Julio from New Jersey believe that it does? There are 3 reasons of enormous significance as to why people will choose your services. So what is the first reason? Let's imagine that tonight, Julio and Steve and Chris Fisher and Dell and Jeffrey and I decide to go out after dinner to the most expensive restaurant in Minneapolis for coffee and dessert. So tonight we go to La Belle Vie, and they bring the menus, and we soon see that we can have either the coffee or the dessert, but at these prices, unless we take out a second mortgage, we're going to have to choose. So we choose the coffee, and they bring it to us, and it tastes fabulous. Well, of course it tastes fabulous. Show of hands here. Have any of you ever experienced a bad $13 cup of coffee? Your prices and fees are not just your prices and fees. They are the communicators and conveyors as to the quality of your service. And the higher the price, the higher the perceived quality. What is the second reason why Julio believes that freeze-dried coffee tastes fabulous, even though it doesn't? Well, I think you can get a clue just by looking at Julio. He's a bon vivant, a gourmet, a lover of great things. He subscribes to Gourmet Magazine and Bon Appetit and Town and Country. And for years, Julio has only read about brand-name restaurants like Lutece, and he has only dreamed about eating there one day. And here he finds himself at Lutece, and he had read that the restaurant was fabulous, and so they bring the coffee, and it tastes fabulous, even though it doesn't. Why? Because it's not the coffee that Julio is experiencing. It's what the brand has convinced him he will experience. Brands change people's perceptions about you. Brands attract people, but they do even more than that. They change your experience, and they allow people to become long-term customers.
Christine Clifford is a persistent lady who's mastered professional speaking, authored 4 books, and is an audacious motivator who's exceptional at helping influence corporations to spin their ideas into action. Exceptional at inspiring and motivating her audiences to discover how positive attitude and laughter are the keys to overcoming adversity and challenges. Christine is the founder and CEO of the Cancer Club, the world's largest producer of humorous and helpful products for people who have been touched by cancer as well as other life-threatening illnesses. After just 5 short years as a professional speaker, Christine earned her Certified Speaking Professional designation from the National Speakers Association. Among other numerous awards, Christine is also the recipient of the International Rose Meyer Award from the Delta Gamma fraternity for outstanding lifetime achievement. She parlayed her victory against cancer to a celebrity golf outing.
And this is for Christine. She's a very special lady.
The Christine Clifford Celebrity Golf Invitational has raised over $1 million for breast cancer research.
Not only am I grateful to be here with all of you today, though, I'm lucky to be here. And I'm lucky first and foremost because as of this coming December, I will be an 8-year survivor of stage 3 metastatic breast cancer. Thank you. I know from talking to so many of you as I've been signing books out there how important each and every one of these years are to us as survivors. But I'm also lucky to be here because I had an experience just a few weeks ago that I'd like to share with all of you. I woke up in the middle of the night having an allergic reaction to something that I ate. Now, I don't know how many of you might have food allergies, but this was a first for me. And I was getting these hives and these welts all over, and my eyes were literally starting to bulge out like a frog's. So I shook my husband and said, "Quick, you've got to do something." So he drove me to the emergency room. Well, first of all, when I walked into the emergency room at 3:30 in the morning, and over half the staff said, "Oh, hi, Mrs. Clifford." I knew I'd been spending a little too much time in the hospital these past 8 years. But even more importantly, one of the doctors looked me in the eye and said, "Christine, you could have died from this." And I thought to myself, oh, great. I've been through chemotherapy and radiation, and now my obituary is going to say, "Overdosed on cashews." And in my first book, Not Now, I'm having a no-hair day, I wrote, people are the only creatures on earth who can celebrate the joy of being alive. Laughter flings open the shutters and lets the sunshine in. A shared gift of laughter is a priceless gift to the spirit. And it's a great poke in the eye to the adversary. Cancer patients are struggling every day to beat. Well, about 3 days after I got home from the hospital, my youngest son, Brooks, answered our doorbell and yelled up to me, "Mom, more flowers for your breast." And I knew I was in for quite a journey.
Now, how many of you thought of jokes as the thing that makes you laugh? How many of you thought of jokes? Several of you. Well, while I was going through my chemotherapy, there was a gentleman going through it with me who'd also lost all of his hair. So we nicknamed each other the Captains of Chrome. And one day he came running up to me and he's like, Christine, do you notice anything different about me? Well, he was so adamant. I looked him up and down, and I looked him round and round, and, you know, I finally had to say, you know, Bill, I'm sorry, I really don't. I parted my hair on the other side. Well, and now, you know, awkward situations can cause you to burst into laughter. Has that ever happened to you? You start laughing at something and you go, oh my gosh, this is so inappropriate. I have got to stop laughing. Well, I had many awkward situations going through my treatments, but let me just share a couple of my favorites with you. At one point during my chemotherapy, I was required by my employer to go to a black tie function in New York City on behalf of Toys R Us. So I went to my closet and searched through and found my best dress, and then I went back to my closet and searched through and found my best wig, and off I flew to Manhattan. Well, Sharon Stone was the MC, and Patti LaBelle was the entertainment. And Sharon came slinking out onto the stage that night wearing this little black dress with these two little spaghetti straps, and she had her assets quite prominently displayed. And I hate to admit it, but she looked like $1 million. And she did this heart-rending story about all of the charities we were donating to that night. There wasn't a dry eye in the house. And then Patti LaBelle came out and started doing her thing. Well, at one point, Patti went backstage and grabbed Sharon and brought her back out on the stage to dance. And Sharon reached down into the audience and found 5 willing men who practically killed themselves to get on the stage with her. And at one point, this one gentleman got just a little bit overzealous. He flung Sharon out and he flung her back, and just as he did that, the 2 straps to her dress broke and her top came down. Well, this woman did not miss a beat. She grabs the microphone from Patti LaBelle, turns to the audience and says, "Oh, please. Anyone with $7.50 has already seen them before." And I thought to myself, oh, that's what I've been doing wrong. I should have been charging the doctors to take a look at all of this. Well, we're talking about awkward situations. I'm going to share another one of my favorites. At one point during my treatments, my husband and I decided to take a break from that cold Minnesota winter. So we flew off to Scottsdale, Arizona. And while we were there, there was an event being played on the senior PGA golf tour called The Tradition. And we bought tickets, and I'm an avid golfer. I was just so excited, standing on the tee, watching 3 of my idols in golf tee off. This was Jack Nicklaus, Raymond Floyd, and Tom Weiskopf. Well, a gust of wind came up and blew my hat and my hair right off my head, right into the middle of the fairway. Now, folks, there were about 10,000 people lining this fairway, and there was not a peep. So I took a deep breath, and I went under the ropes, and I ran out into the middle of the fairway, grabbed my hat and my hair, and I stopped and turned to the golfers and said, "By the way, gentlemen, the wind is blowing left to right." Thank you all so much for being here.